At 7 o'clock, my machine here. So I'll do the order. Table, please rise, please pledge your allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, that all officers are present. And welcome everybody, meeting's in order. Go on to number 3, consent agenda. No, I'm sorry, number 2, addition to deletion.
Have no additions or deletions, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Moving on to the consent agenda. Anybody wish to further discuss any other items on the consent?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move item 3.7 and 3.8 somewhere else. For a little bit of discussion, please.
Let's do the accreditation first and then.
Yep, we'll do those as new business, 7.01 and 02.
Anybody else have anything?
If I just have a question about something, can I ask, or do we need to separate that?
Quick, short answer.
Yeah, I was just curious if it's just a legal thing. In 3.9, it mentions ABC Corporation and XYZ Partnership. Is that like John Doe for a corporation?
Correct, exactly, because with a quiet title action, you're never gonna be able to name everybody, and you have to go back in time, so you just
Yeah.
name fictitious people, fictitious entities, and then you use certified publication to make sure that that's been accomplished, so.
Okay, thank you.
I was surprised that there's that many other property owners involved.
Well, and a lot of them have like multiple people, but you have to add, name everybody individually, so.
Very satisfied with that, well, leave that. That was all to Lou. Okay, any other changes? Not any action?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, moving 3.7 and 3.8 to 7.01 and 7.02.
Okay,
Second?
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well, that carries. We're going to move on to the presentation. Mr. Chief Fredericks.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, so first of all, thank you for getting this on the agenda. Officer Dubs is here tonight. Just to give you a backstory on this, on September 11th, the department received a call of a female party in full cardiac arrest. Officer Dubs was the only Princeton officer on at the time. He responded to the call, was able to gain entrance to the residence, locate the female party, immediately started CPR, was able to get the AED hooked up, delivered 2 successful shocks, continued with life-saving measures. North ambulance arrived and transported, and excited to tell you that she today is still alive, and hospital staff had made numerous comments to myself as well as the other officers that she obviously would not be here today if it wasn't for Officer Dubs. So we have a life-saving award for him that we would like to present to him tonight. Jack, you all vote this, sorry. Ready, would you like to, right in front of everybody?
Yes.
Jack, you wanna have him hold it?
Yeah.
Whatever you want, whatever you want, Stacy, you tell us, I guess, you're getting pictures, so.
I guess.
Perfect. Want to pose? Want it landscape and portrait?
Oh, Maria, hey, congrats. Gonna go hunting now.
Speeders?
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank
you.
That's very.
Thank you.
It's.
Oh. It's a good cell phone.
I know.
Sounds gratifying to do stuff like that, right?
Yeah, extremely proud.
Proud of that little guy.
Proud of that little guy. Just a little baby to us right now.
I had a good event last weekend too, but not for this meeting. Michelle knows about it.
Yep.
Okay, we'll move on to the open forum. This is where the public has a chance to address the council on any item that's not on the agenda. Your name and the time limit, I guess.
I don't have an agenda, so I don't know if I'm on it or not. I'm ECMC, East Central
Yep.
Minnesota Corral.
You're on the agenda.
Yeah.
I am on it. Okay, I didn't know, but it's.
Yeah, and I kind of assumed that, but I gotta go through the process and
Sure.
vote.
That's fine.
Okay, seeing nobody, we will move on to old business, and we apparently have none. So we will move on to new business, and let's do 3.7 first.
Yeah. So, Mr. Mayor and Council, I just, on 3.7 and 3.8, on both these resolutions, one of the very, last thing it says, whereas, it says on both of these, actually, let me find it on here, I can read it. Now therefore be it resolved that the city of Princeton supports the construction of the project and agrees to maintain such improvements. And I'm wondering what the verbiage maintain entails on both of these. Like, this to me looks like we're responsible to maintain all of the, like, everything that,
Yeah, that's so that's a good question. And the verbiage from the those memorandums they're draft verbiage that we get from, for the applications. And so I'm sorry to say, I don't have an answer on that right now. If the maintains means that it's generally a state who's asking for the funding or a county, or if something needs to be modified in that. So I can certainly look into that.
yeah, because I'm just a little nervous about agreeing
Yeah, that
to,
means
if maintaining,
the road
crack
access stuff.
sealing, potholing, you know, all that stuff when it's
Yeah.
a state highway.
Yep.
Or part of it's on a county road.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's legs of it that are, there are legs that are local, but there's also legs that are of another agency.
Yeah, so it's on both 2559 and 2560. The verbiage is in both of those.
Okay, I will follow up on that.
And then, what was my,
I got the table until we get that clear.
Yes, I would suggest that the application is due December
December 12th.
12th, so we can table these to the November 25th meeting and modify that language as appropriate.
You have more than come forward.
yeah, the other thing I found on 2560 is the second to the last whereas. It says the project will further the city's economic development efforts along Trunk Highway 95 by allowing safe access to future commercial development.
Safe access?
I think it should be safe.
That was on the 2560.
Yeah,
That would be the 95 13th Avenue resolution.
Basically, looking for clarification and verbiage, like, well
Yeah.
done.
I just want to make sure nobody holds us to that. Do all the maintenance and
Okay, so, then mostly that's what standard, I just kind of question.
I will get into that.
thank you.
So you want to move to table then?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to table resolution 25-59 and 25-60 for the one little small error, but the, I guess clarification on the maintain verbiage.
Okay, we have a motion,
I'll second.
and second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries.
We'll bring those back at the November 25th meeting, so.
Sorry to delay it, but,
No, that's okay.
We have time.
We have time.
okay.
We're good.
Okay. Let's move on to new business. Resolution 25-61, donation from Princeton Auto for first responders. Excuse me, test ride program.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this, the memo in front of you this is our 4th year that, Princeton Auto, graciously selected us to, do this program. So the $500 is kind of here you go, you're part of the program. And then as people, we've done some posts right now. As people come into the dealership and take a test drive, they have the opportunity to complete a little sheet, and then every test drive they do, we get $25 in addition. So there'll be, I think the last I heard, there was, I think 4 or 5 as of right now that have been done. So there'll be this one, and then obviously something a little bit later on when they finish the program. So super excited. Money will go towards some equipment that we're gonna quickly get here before the end of the year.
How long does the program go? Do you know?
I can't remember. I think it's,
In November.
yeah, it was like, yeah, I think it's coming. It's like, we have a couple weeks. So, you know, I mean, I know Jack, your car's a little bit older. We should probably get in there. My dad went up and test drove already, and whether he's trying to buy a car or not, I have no idea. But they're pretty good about getting people signed up for it and pushing.
Well, I'm sure they'll let me test drive.
Well, they will. Nice looking Camaro in there and Corvette.
Alderson sees me coming.
So super,
Yeah, it could be a few more dollars.
yeah, oh yeah, it will be once it's done. So this is just something that we're obviously truly grateful for them to think about us, and helps purchase stuff that we necessarily don't, have the money to spend for budgeting and stuff like that.
For sure. If any of us are in there, tell them thank you. We need action.
Make a motion to approve resolution 25-16.
Motion,
Second.
second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So that carries.
Thank you.
7.2. The time. Wine and Ferris grant for the, request East Central Minnesota Corral.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. I dressed in our apparel because I think that we are a pretty grand group. We each, let me get my stuff out here. I have my mission statement, everything here. So anyway, we are Minnesota, East Central Minnesota Corral, and we represent the 5-county area. We have 52 members in our corral, and several of our members are actually music teachers themselves. So our mission statement is that we come to the communities. First of all, let me ask you, have any of you ever attended any of our concerts? You have, okay. Because it's quite extraordinary. Charlie Moe is our current director right now, who is also the high school, senior high choral director. And he's been with us. This is his 8th season. We are in our 45th year of our community choir here. And our mission is to bring choral music at the highest artistic level to this area of the state. And I do believe that we actually have gained recognition. We've been invited twice to sing at the American Choral Directors Association Conference, which is a very high honor. We just did the last one a couple years ago, and that was very, it was just a wonderful experience. But anyway, I'm here today because we are a nonprofit. And each of our members, we buy our own apparel. We have dues ourselves. We each have to pay $120 to be a member. We also support our youth choir called Unum Vox, which in Latin means one voice. This was started 10 years ago. So we're in our 10th season. We had a little interim last year because one of the choral directors for that choir quit, and we couldn't find a choral director soon enough. But anyway, we also support that group. And then our choir gives 2 seniors in the spring 2 $500 scholarships for some senior that wants to go on into music. So we're here today because Princeton, I feel, should be very proud of what we do for our community. I'm very proud to be a part of the choir, and I grew up in Princeton. I've been here my whole life. And I want to put us on the map. And so to keep our chorale going, we are trying to raise $20,000, and we're asking in this grant for a $2,000 grant, because we do go to several different communities. And actually, the city of Cambridge has probably been our best financial supporter. I'd like to see more from our community if that's possible. So our mission is to raise money because we have 2 choir directors that we pay for. We have Charlie Moe for the ECMC, and we have Alex Blangen for the youth choir, and he also is the Malacca High School choir director. So we have their salaries to cover. We have 2 different accompanists, one for our choir, one for their choir. We have to pay a business manager to keep track of all of our finances, because we have to, do all that stuff too. And then we also have a bookkeeper who keeps track of everything. And then we have our fees to run our programs. And if any of you want to look at any of them, I have them up here. It explains everything about us. We do have 6 concerts that we give throughout the year. We have 3 coming up this Christmas holiday season. Our first is Friday, December 12th, which will be held here at our own Emmanuel Lutheran Church here in Princeton, and that's at 7 p.m. The Saturday on the 13th will be in North Branch. We have 5 counties that we cover that we go sing at. So we've sung in many different towns in East Central Minnesota. So that Saturday we have a concert in North Branch at 2:00 in the afternoon. And then 7 p.m. in Cambridge Lutheran Church. All of our concerts are free will offering. We don't charge for people to come. So basically, between the chorale members themselves and community support is how we keep this going. And so I'm here tonight to ask if you would be so gracious to support us in that endeavor, so that we can keep this going in our communities. So I don't know if you got a copy of what we have applied for, but we are asking for $2,000 to help us pay for our directors and to help us purchase music. Most music nowadays is about $5 a copy, and we have 55 members in our chorale, 24 in Unum Box. So it gets to be pretty tight there. But our biggest, I will say, the moneymaker that we do for ourselves, because the chorale members and different community people make baskets that we sell at our spring concert. And the money that they buy for those baskets goes to the chorale. So that's our only moneymaker that we have. So the rest is donations. So I'm here asking for your support. And I think it's just very important that we keep Princeton on the map. And I'm very proud to be a part of this chorale. And if you've never heard us, please come. And especially the Christmas, to me, is just the most wonderful experience, because if any of you sang in choir in your high school years and you did Christmas music, it really makes the season. And I think I just feel very blessed to be a part of it. So I cordially invite you to come so you can experience what I'm talking about. Okay? Any questions? Anybody?
Yeah, I think, well, we have a criteria where you read, I'm sure, with the application, and
Yep.
I have my opinion. I think you pretty much meet everything there.
Okay.
Another question I had, you answered. You do reach out to other communities where you form?
Right now, we're doing what we call our fundraiser. We're trying to reach out to patrons. We've been to different businesses in town, and some have already donated and some are getting back to us. When you go into an office or something, they're not always there, the managers or whatever. So we're still in the process, and this will go till like the end of the month, first part of December.
And you do some stuff on your own, create stuff you sell and whatever.
Pardon me?
The baskets and stuff, you said you make baskets.
Yeah, we do that for the spring concert. That's just for the spring concert. We do that in North Branch, so.
Yeah, those are my questions, I guess. So,
Any questions, anybody?
anybody else have anything?
Any questions? And just, we have $25,000 is our limit in the fund. If I remember right, this time of year is, Pam, when it starts getting tight, okay, for requests. And if I remember right, after the last request, we only have $300 left.
That's about right. I just pulled up the spreadsheet. And I need to verify the numbers, but we're actually over by $645 based on what we've already given.
How did that happen?
I don't know, that's why I said I gotta
You'll
double
have to
check the
go-
numbers. I gotta double check the numbers, so,
Yeah.
I'm doing stuff from some of the memory. I think there was an adjustment somewhere in here, so we are pretty much tapped out.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, if they
that would be
go for the
a,
first of the year, or we start over.
There isn't any money to ask for, huh? Oh,
No,
no.
there isn't, but like she said, if you come back after the first of the year, then.
That we start over from scratch.
Oh, I see. So this is a bad time of year to come. Yes. Oh, I get it. Yeah. Okay, well, put me on the agenda for January, whatever.
not that, we never know till we get to the end of the year. This
Yeah.
really happened to be,
Correct.
We've had a lot of need this year.
Sure. Okay, oh, I understand that. So,
yeah.
so would I fill out another form then?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So come in January and, all right.
Yep.
I will do that. Well, thank you for your time and, I sure hope that you can come because I think you'd be nicely surprised to see what this little town has to offer. We went and sang, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, to the chamber breakfast at the north end of town, and they were just blown away. They said, we didn't even know that this was around, you know? So, yeah, so come, I think you'd really enjoy it. And I'll be back in January.
And this isn't so time sensitive that you can wait till the first of the year. It's just,
Well,
well, you can use money anytime.
well, yeah, you know, we need it, but you know, we need it all year long. So I mean, you know, if it would benefit us to come back in January, then that's do that.
Are you-
If there's nothing to give now, there's nothing to give, so.
Are you able to be a chamber member as a group? Could you have a representative like attend the chamber and have them help promote
Well-
your events and?
I don't know, I can bring it up to the board. Is that a prerequisite or?
No.
No,
They have,
I believe they do
Yeah,
have someone at
nonprofit
the chamber events.
yeah,
Usually they have someone from, I think it's all, she also is with, the funeral home.
Oh, Michelle Stein, yeah, she was our president last year, yeah.
okay, yeah. So it might help. They could put you up on like the website or promote your events when they're coming up.
Sure, yeah, and I'm gonna give it to Mary Lou to put up our, you know, a week before our concert to put it up on
On
the
the sign.
yeah, sign over there by, it used to be whatever it was, that's no longer in existence anymore, the gas station, but yeah, so I'm gonna do that, and I have a, well, maybe I should give it to her, but I do have a poster for our upcoming Christmas concert, maybe I'll just drop and bring it to her, so you guys, but I thank you for your time, appreciate it, and, we'll see you in January. That's it. All right, thank you.
So put one of your posters up on your bulletin board out there too.
Oh, maybe I'll just do that, then, I have it with me, so thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move on to
no, I don't think so. We'll just,
7.3, ordinance 888, amending fee schedule, first reading.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we did send this around to all the department heads, and so they made their recommendations for increases.
I didn't see any changes that were, I guess, online, or to use that word, I don't know what in line or out line, but no major changes of any kind, I guess.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
The first one's under police. Page 42, it looks like.
I'm sorry, 42, you say?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't understand under false alarms. It says 3-year free, comma, $25. And then it says $30 each thereafter. Is it
Oh, I might not.
$25 Or is it $30?
I think it's 30. The little line didn't transfer over.
So, yeah, so what it's always been, has been you get 3 for free.
Yeah.
And then on the 4th one and the 5th one and so on, you
Yeah.
be charged $25. Just
So
calling
you're
around.
increasing it from 25 to 30.
Yes,
So we
correct.
need to delete that 25 and put
Like
like
a little line across it.
Is that saying you can have 3 false alarms before you're charged? Is that what that's saying or?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
I know, yeah, it's been a carryover for, there's really only one victim in the mix. So we can be somewhat considerate of the.
I'm just noticing that the digital media CD or flash drive, it only says per disc. We need to add in that there's a cost for the flash drive as well.
Yeah, we actually. That was item.
Since it's $5 per disc.
So
per
we can
CD.
change that.
I think we had talked about changing it
Item.
to item,
Okay.
just to keep it simple.
Okay, then my next question is on page 44 under sewer. And it says foreign sludge processing,
Yes,
3 cents. Then it's got a $sign, and then it says 10 cents per gallon.
yes.
What the heck is that?
I think it's the same thing. I think the strike through didn't go through. I think we're raising it to 10 cents.
Yes, yeah.
So it was 3 cents. Because they're coming out as red, like the
Yep.
new fee,
Yeah.
instead of blacking it out. I didn't have any questions about any of them other than the two that didn't make sense.
What is foreign sludge? Is it
It's the
sludge from?
byproduct from, like in the rebeds I showed you,
Yeah,
from other towns when they get in a pinch,
right.
so we take it.
Then we get more foreign sludge and charge them for it?
No, we don't want it.
Okay.
So rate it enough, they won't break it up.
Undocumented sludge.
Yeah.
Illegal.
That's all I.
You know, what I did have when I was reading it earlier, you know, I probably can't find it. It had to do with, like if you install a new furnace or a air conditioner or water heater.
Undergoing permit?
That's the front first page of the fee schedule.
And there was, quite honestly, I don't know how many times I looked at these schedules, but I didn't ever notice that before. But I know it's not new, so it's my bad for not seeing it.
You're talking about page 37, new mechanical units.
Probably, all right, eventually, yes.
So you're wondering.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, on the top of the page. And then what, I guess, how do you track that? I mean, do contractors come in and get a permit if they're, but what if you do it yourself? I mean, how do you?
If you're a general and you're the, if you're your own property owner and you're pulling a permit, then yeah, you would be responsible to pull the permit.
But I can't imagine that people don't.
Actually, we get a lot of mechanical permits.
Well,
It has to either be a licensed contractor or the property owner.
Well, and if you're dealing with natural gas, you know, unless you're someone who's mechanically inclined, that knows how to make sure they.
Well, I mean, imagine the contractors probably are aware of it. I don't know, just talking about, well, what if, how do you track it? I guess that's the primary question is.
Well, I mean, it's like anything with any permit. I mean, people will follow the rules or not follow the rules, and, you know, sometimes when you don't follow the rules, you can have tragic consequences.
If you hire a contractor, they for sure will pull a permit because they're liable for the work.
Yeah.
Now, property owners, we hope they.
Sorry, Michelle, I think we know that happens all over the place. Not for this, all, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying is that, I mean, you know, if you're doing internal work that should have a permit, we're not demanding entrance to verify whether work is being done. I mean, it's very obvious if someone's doing external work, neighbors will call on other neighbors.
No, we've had many discussions on that topic.
Yep. So,
In another venue, so. Well, I guess, anybody else have any questions or?
Just quick, because I randomly landed on this page as I was scrolling, but under cemetery, it says cremains. Is that like an abbreviation or is that the
No.
proper term?
That's remains.
Cremated remains,
Yeah.
remains, okay. Makes sense.
Okay, anybody else? Nobody has anything, need approval. Action, I'm sorry, need action.
I'll make a motion, to approve ordinance 888, amending the fee schedule. First reading.
We have a motion,
Second,
we have a second. Any other? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Well, that carries. Yeah, that went pretty good, actually. In my mind, I was.
wait till the second reading, no.
Somebody will
Well,
pick
it's
it up.
getting better because we do this every year now.
Well, I know we do. But we also know that stuff doesn't get escalated or like it should. We talk about that. Okay. Did that, you have something to say?
Yeah, so, introduction to the feasibility study. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I'm bringing forth the draft feasibility for, the reconstruction of Third Street, just north of here. This is draft form. We've got some stuff to talk about tonight as far as the cost goes and some funding, options for it. But just to recap where we're at, 'cause it's been a while. Third Street, it 2-lane road has well, it's not designated parking, but it's wide enough. It's a wide road existing from the fairgrounds over to 7th. Those are the limits, and it's 33 to 45 feet wide under existing conditions. And so we're looking to narrow that road up just to make it 2-lane with parking and then allow for a full 6-foot wide sidewalk and boulevard on one side. And that should bring because right now it's kind of a sea of pavement out there, but we do want to be able to accommodate parking a little bit more than on 7th, I think is the goal, to get that widened up a little bit so that it looks like parking and we're not utilizing the curb line, even though the curb is supposed to be used for parking. I think it's not always done that way. So that is something that we are considering for this project also. Water main existing is mostly 6 inches out of there, so it doesn't even meet state aid standards. This is what happened on 7th. This is the old school way of doing it. This is a lot of the water in the city is 6. Right now, the standards right now is to go minimum 8. Anything over 8 is oversizing and considered a trunk. So minimum diameter for water main is 6. We would be taking out the 6, replacing it with 8. The sewer is old clay, so it's full of roots. We might have infiltration problems out there. I know there are some issues somewhere in the city. We're trying to find out where those are, but clay is always a easy candidate for finding where it could be happening. But it varies. The sewer varies between 6 or 8 to 10 inches out there. It's 10 inches over on the east end, 8 inches over on the west end. And then we have televised that, the city, Bob had that televised. And there's roots everywhere. We couldn't even get the camera through in some spots. So you'd have to back it out and go to another manhole and come down and bring it in, just trying to figure out if we have any major issues. We know we're going to replace it, but we were really trying to find the service locations to the house that when we dig this up and try and replace services to the homes, we know where those are. We weren't able to do that very well on 7th. We kind of had the contractor just kind of had to open it up and find out where it was and quick plug it up and bypass that sewer run. So this time around, at least we were able to televise the sewer, and I think we'll be a little bit more prepared with where those services are. The last thing that I wanted to bring up are the fairgrounds at the west end. Been working, Michelle is on the fair board, and we've been using her as a resource to get that parking off the street and potentially move it onto their site so that we can just continue that curve down and not have the pull-in parking there at the very west end by the fairgrounds. So the details of that will happen during final design, but it's just something that we're aware of that needs to happen. And so in the draft report, there is a cost estimate in there This is total project cost. The cost, this does include, and I don't know, does everyone have a copy of it on their computer?
Yep.
Okay, so if you go to page 7 of it, and under table 1, it has total project cost summary that breaks down between the roadway, the sewer, the storm, and the water main. And then table 2 has just a draft funding summary, a funding breakdown. This is a state aid road. So we do, actually it's a state aid road from 13th to the east. That one block to the fairgrounds is not state aid, so that would be local. But this road is state aid eligible for all eligible costs, which is storm sewer, bituminous, curb and gutter, sidewalk, all of that is state aid eligible items. We do accrue state aid funds on an annual basis. Right now, our fund balance, including what we would be getting for 2026, looks like it would be around $873,000. So all of that can be allocated. As you can see with the street, there is still a remaining balance of $952,000 plus the storm sewer costs. So we are at a deficit that state aid won't cover. You can borrow ahead to state aid. I think I have until November 17th to get that into state aid if we want it. They do allow us to borrow into the next coming years, and then we're just in the hole and they just don't pay us back. They pay themselves back until we're in the clear there. So that is an option. A lot of cities do that. There's nothing wrong. Sometimes people think, well, I don't want to borrow ahead on my state aid dollars, but it does make it possible for smaller cities who don't get $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, like some of the higher population in the larger cities do. It does make it hard for cities to do a full project and have it fully funded when you're only getting a few $100,000 a year from state aid. So that is certainly a possibility. However, I know as part of the city CIP, there are other projects that they want to do with those state aid funds. So that's the downside of all of that. The other thing is that we wanted to talk about, just have a discussion tonight, is the possibility of assessments. Utilizing or implementing a stormwater utility fee. These are all ways to generate additional dollars. Assessments are, the feasibility report. The reason it's in draft form tonight is not only because we wanted to talk about all of these things, but if we go to assessments, we have to follow Chapter 429, which means we have to hold a public hearing, and there's timelines. That state statute has all these rules. So if that's something that council decides to do, we would need to modify this report to add a draft or to add a proposed assessment rule. And we'd have to call for a public hearing. The city has to, there's just all these steps. You have to approve the feasibility report, you have to order the project, you have to hold the hearing. There's just the state statute, and we've been talking about that with staff a little bit about what that is. And I'm very familiar with that process too. It just adds a little bit of a timeline to the project.
So as Jen noted, this is an introduction just to kind of give the council and the mayor a little bit of time to chew on this. My plan is so we have at our disposal, and we talked about this a little bit, we have the franchise fee, we have assessments, and we would probably be looking at a per lot assessment, probably not more than half of the project cost, give or take, depending upon where we land. Per unit assessments are easier to defend. In the past, lots of cities, I was working in Elk River when we did a per front foot assessment for a project near City Hall. And one of the issues that you have to weigh when you're doing assessment is, does the benefit, does the assessment and the benefit sort of have a rational connection? There's a lot of case law now that basically, and one of the issues that we ran into in Elk River was that the assessments were so high that people made the arguments to the court that they could never recoup that cost on their market value when they were to resell their home. And so a lot of cities were in the process. I have several examples that Jen provided from other cities. So that'll be one of the discussion items at the study session, is to kind of look at a draft assessment policy, because we really don't, well, we have one, but it's what, 1994?
And it's,
And
I think it really refers to a lineal footage.
Yeah.
It's not on a per lot.
Yeah, so the assessment policy needs to be, and it's currently in the subdivision ordinance, which is where it shouldn't be, and so we need to have a conversation about whether the council is even interested in, looking at assessments. Plus, there is the issue of assessments versus the franchise fee, because there's an argument, if you're doing a franchise fee, you shouldn't do assessments because they're kind of double dipping. And then there's the opportunity we've talked about, we have in the budget, this under storm sewer, under Bob's purview, this sort of amorphous stormwater utility. Well, that could have been in place. It's not dependent on our state MS4 permit. We could have had a stormwater utility in for forever to pay for stormwater projects. You said to me that you could even pay
There's
for
a lot,
street
yeah.
sweeper.
I looked at, yeah, I was, asking, Jake Newhall in my office, he's director in our stormwater group. He puts together rate studies. He's very familiar with this. I was just asking what the rate or what the state statute says that you can use the stormwater utility for. And he said it's very open. You can buy street sweepers. You could pay for staff to do, for doing the stormwater, like if once the city becomes an MS4, and you need to be implementing that program, it takes time. It takes a lot of staff time. Or it takes someone to do it for you. It could pay for a staff member. It could pay for shovels to do clean out in a storm sewer structure. So it doesn't have a lot of rules, much like a park dedication. If you're like, well, let's replace it, you can't use that money for that type of stuff. So it has a lot of variability to be using for new storm sewer. And so, when you go through the rate study, you look at what the needs are and where you see the new storm needing to come in, and you just kind of find out what that timeline is over 10 years, and you divide it out and figure out what each unit would be paying for residential, and they all pay into that, and then it helps fund your storm sewer projects. So they could be paying for that, the storm portion is 500,000.
So we're gonna put together some stuff for the December 4th study session, so there'll be a lot of stuff for you to look at. And hopefully you can give us some direction as to where we want to go with these things moving forward. And so we'll be busy the first part of next year doing, whether it's the franchise fee or the stormwater utility or both, and whether or not, at a minimum, we do need to update the assessment policy, just because it's older than dirt. And it's not been updated. So tonight, hopefully, this is a pretty big relatively big document. If you have any initial questions or comments, we'll take those back. And then, again, we'll prepare for the December 4th discussion. And, staff will bounce some ideas around and put together some stuff for you to consider and look at.
Yeah, I think it's really important we talk about it and make the best decision, because there's gonna be other projects coming up, and so we're gonna set a precedence with whatever we do on this one.
Yep.
What we do for.
And other projects, they are not all necessarily, most of them will not be state aid. So then you lose that funding.
Yeah, so it's gonna be. When you talk about franchise, you're talking about the $1.50 right now, that is on everybody's PUC bill. That goes towards, right now it's going for parks.
Correct, so we need to
Till
have.
the end of the year.
Yep, so we need to have a conversation about renewing that, and if so, which I'm assuming we want to do. But then we need to just have a kind of a discussion. Do we want to continue to fund parks, or do we want to?
Parks and trails.
Parks and trails, thank you. Sidewalks, parks, trails, sidewalks. Or do we want to shift our focus elsewhere?
Yeah, because I know a lot of cities do like $15, and then that goes towards streets. a wheel tax or whatever you wanna call it?
Payment management.
Well,
That's
so the
different.
wheel tax, the gap and that I think is all part of the state aid, the franchise fee, it's still all on your, you can do different dollar amounts. And
Yeah.
the $1.25 was set because we had a plan. And then we had a dollar amount we knew we were trying to generate, and that's how we backed into the $1.25. And then, of course, the industrial and commercial, depending on your meter size and whatever, they're all paying different amounts also. But yes, I worked in a handful of cities that use it strictly for payment management. And in those cities, it's generally, I think Elk River, Rogers, when I did it, they're modeled Elk River at that time. And I think they're 5 and 4. So it's $5 for electric and $4 for gas. So they were generating $9 a year, which, that I think at that time, if I'm doing my math right, it was $109 a year. I think that was for a homeowner versus getting hit with a $5,000 assessment. That was kind of the argument. But if you do assessments, you're right. It sets a precedence, because then if you do reenact that franchise fee at a higher rate for payment management, then those people who were previously assessed, they start knocking at the door, and rightfully so, right? Because they're saying, hey, I paid $5,000, I could have been paying $109 a year. So it's a good conversation to have.
So,
That's side of the state aid going back in here. We can't, have to use it or lose it on an annual basis, right? You can't bank that and roll it over. It doesn't apply
For
to
state aid?
what I mean.
State aid?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can bank that. You can hold on to, I think you can hold on to 1.5 million, or, it's like, there's some formula. Princeton will never hit it. We're not big enough. We don't generate enough funds to worry about that. You'd have to really hang on to it for probably 10 years, touch it. And then the state's like, well, if you're not using it, we're not gonna give you any more.
That was like part of this project, we're talking about future.
Oh, yeah.
But it has to be state aid funded road too, so right? I mean,
To-
roadway has to be a designated state aid route.
You have to use state aid funds on a state aid route. Yes, correct.
I mean, we can't, I suppose we can move that around, but I imagine we gotta be.
You have to be really careful. They used to be a little bit easier to deal with taking this route away and moving it over here, and now they realize that a lot of people.
We had a county gentleman that was.
yes,
Yeah, so don't ruin that for us.
yeah, the parameters are pretty specific now. I don't know back when the county gentleman was doing it, but they were as bookending of the connections that now you have to, you can't just do a little quarter mile chunk of road. It's gotta meet certain parameters.
Yes.
Very creative.
Yes, it has to meet a county road, another state aid road, or a trunk highway. So if you look at our state aid system, every road either connects with another state aid or a county or a trunk highway, because they want to make sure it's connecting all of the corridors.
And I think 13th Avenue going north and south is a designated.
It is.
Because we anticipated going to Highway 95 and then connecting to First Street to South 31, so.
And that segment that there is no road, we designated that. Actually, it's not getting us any money because it doesn't have any traffic on it, but we thought it was important to get 13th on, knowing that would connect in the future. So that little segment, they call it undesignated road, or they have some name for it or something, but it's on our state aid system, just kind of classified as kind of it's not there, but it's sure. So,
How do they calculate what we're gonna be eligible for?
yeah, good
I
question.
think we talked about it before.
Yeah, good question. It has to do, there's other, and I would have to open their manual to really dive into it to remember, but generally, from what I recall, it's based on population, miles of road, and then they actually do go out and say, okay, you've got, so many they kind of look at lane miles and what does it cost to reconstruct, and then if you had storm sewer, what does that cost, and if you have bridges, they look in Princeton and they say, how many bridges does the city own, how many traffic signals does the city own, and that all is factored into the calculation for each city. So it's not just in a calculation, they just spread it out to everybody. They specifically look at Princeton and say, do you have signals? do you have bridges? Do you have not trails, but do you have lighting? I mean, if lighting is an eligible item too. They look at all of those things and they just kind of break it up into a cost per foot. And then we give them those lane miles that we have and then also it's based on ADT. So if you have a really low traffic road, they call it like a level one. So it only generates such a percentage of dollars. And if you have one that has an ADT that's 4,000 or more, it generates more money as a system whole. So they have all these little factors that go into it.
Very complicated.
They have 2 meetings a year to explain it all to us.
So that would play into what road we would choose to designate when we make that decision too.
Yes, so we always try, that's why we try and pick the higher volume roads we do. That's why we always are a proponent of doing counts, doing updated traffic counts. And just to make sure that if we're seeing a roadway that has increased traffic, we want state aid to know. Because if it goes from a 2,000 vehicle per day road and now it's 3,500, that may drop, they may bump us up into another category that gives us more money. So those, when we come in and recommend doing counts, that's why, because we want to make sure that we're getting credit for our traffic.
I think, is it 21st Avenue? We designate 21st Avenue, so.
Yep.
So that's another road that is connecting, because it connects to Sherwood County on the south end and Lawrence County on the north end and ultimately the Highway 95,
So
so.
they have to meet that, right? We're connecting, they have to meet certain criteria.
Yep, so that road, because it goes through now, it connects with the county road, is that 42? 45. Thank you. And then it connects with County Road 157 from Mille Lacs County, so, and also County Road CASA 31, which is First Street, so yeah, we, the council 3 years ago, when we did the pavement management plan, we presented to you our state aid plan, and I don't anticipate that that's really gonna change. It's just a matter of us doing regular counts and reporting them. So, I don't know when the last time we did counts on
I was just
21st.
gonna say it might be time to do some count.
21st Avenue might warrant some counts.
Yeah.
Now that it's open and people are finding it, that's probably something we should put on the list.
We had counts done when the system was first put together and 21st had gone through at that time, but it's been, I mean, how long have we been in the state aid for?
2 or 3 years.
2 or 3, yeah, we haven't done counts since we became state aid city, so.
So we'll have to plan that for next year to do some counts on our state aid system, so. Jen's making the.
Am I correct that there isn't any major gigantic projects in our plan for 27? And it was mentioned we could maybe pull in some of the 27 funds as well, is that correct?
So the capital plan, when we, actually, we're gonna look at the public works budgets at the 25th meeting. You'll get the entire capital plan again. There's a whole section on infrastructure. And we've identified 3rd Street, 2nd Street.
Yep.
And I think 4th Avenue. So right now, those are anticipated on an every other year basis. So this year, 25, we're doing feasibility and design work to do the project in 26. So that means 27 is kind of an off year for construction. And then 28 would be a construction year theoretically, if the council decides they want to continue with that. Looking at doing counts in 26 on our state aid system to see how that would change our funding stream. I don't know off the top of my head what we get for construction, but on an annual basis, but, we'd have to look at, what we have on the MSA system. And then decide if we want to borrow. That might mean then pushing those projects out. But, when we picked those streets, the streets in and of themselves, we have good pavement condition, because Bob does a great job in terms of seal coating and those sorts of things. The reason those streets were selected is because the underground infrastructure is a pile of horse doo-doo.
Sure.
And is creating maintenance headaches and potential failures, and so the issue then becomes, you're trying to balance the underground horse doo-doo with the pavement on top, and how do we pay for that? So the issue becomes, it may become a critical moot point, because you never ever want to try to do a project under extreme duress.
Mhm.
So if we can try to plan for those,
Right.
so those are gonna be some of the issues that we're gonna have to weigh if we move some of these projects out, and,
Yeah.
those types of things. So,
So if we borrowed in on 27, that would push the 28 project further down?
depends on if because then it depends on if second is on the MSA, I can't remember.
Second.
So in that case, then, so it wouldn't be relevant. We'd have to find a different funding source in which case the franchise fee might come into play to do that surface stuff.
Mhm.
Those are all things that we're gonna have to look at as we go through the next budgeting cycle.
It's kind of a puzzle when it comes to funding, because like Michelle said, that when we did the pavement management plan and we looked at the results and we realized like the pavement is all relatively in decent shape. Plus we have wonderful soils here, so it's just great stuff to build on. It was really the utilities that were driving the projects. And so we sat down with Public Works and said, hey, where's your issues out here? And with Keith, also with the PUC, and said, where's the issues? Where should we prioritize? And then we learned from them where they're spending all their time with water main breaks, sewer plugs. 7th was a county road. They spent, how many sewer issues did how many times they have to cut into that road? And third
Basements every month.
third isn't much different. Unfortunately, a lot of the sewer in town is like that. And so it's just, then once the road is new, then we just get in this new cycle of how the pavement's gonna be maintained. The utilities are maintained through jetting and televising regularly to see where problems are. Now that the sewer is once it's replaced and it's in its new material in the plastic, any repairs moving forward can be done with lining. And, sometimes you can do that on clay too, you can pipe first and do stuff, but it's just the services are so bad also going to the homes that the whole thing just needs to be dug up and replaced. So like Michelle was saying with the funding, we can certainly look to borrow ahead, but what happens also, and I just want to point out with the franchise fee, what other cities are doing with that franchise fee and the collection of it, because they may be generating $1 million a year on franchise fee for pavement management. And if they're on a state aid road, they may say, okay, I don't want to use all my state aid dollars on that road. I have this franchise fee, we'll pay for what our main road, what our basic street width is, and anything over and above we'll use state aid dollars for. So it's kind of the oversizing of the road is what they're using state aid for, so that they're not depleting their state aid on the entire project.
Mhm.
So then you can kind of bring multiple funding sources into the pavement and say, okay, I'll pay for 2 12-foot lanes. What's the cost of that? It's $200,000. Let's use franchise fees for that, for the curb and gutter, and for the storm sewer and sidewalk we'll use, and lighting, maybe we'll use state aid. Because right now we don't have that. So now if it's state aid, we need to use all of it, or we need to find something else to do. If that makes sense. And I can kind of talk all day about that too.
When we sit down at that study session, will you bring to us like how much our franchise fee brings in each year at what it's set at now?
Yep, I can do that.
Is Jen gonna be at the study session?
Yes.
Thank you. It's awesome to have the questions answered immediately.
Right. While remaining competitive with our franchise fee or other stuff, not to chase people off.
Yeah, the issue is that, it's kind of like, once it's there, you kind of forget about it, to some extent. Unless it's so high that,
I hear about it.
yeah, I don't know that, and it's part of it is to, you have to market it and sell it to some extent, but You know, like Jen said, I think everybody would rather pay, I mean, $200 a year, let's just say round numbers, as opposed to a $5,000 assessment over 10 years
Mhm.
at 3% interest or whatever it is, so.
Yeah, I think if the city's gonna move towards assessments as a regular funding source, and you go through a public process, and you have these meetings, open houses, or you have a public hearing, or you have public meetings to say, hey, this is what we're looking, we need to generate these funds, we can either go for assessments, or we do this, which you're already kind of doing, and it's just gonna increase a little bit. It's kind of, I mean, you're gonna get the people who are gonna complain no matter what, but I think generally after it's done, it's quiet. And if you start pulling assessments, which are a great way to get revenue for a project, but it's contentious. And these council chambers start dealing with public hearings and everybody's not happy. And then woe is me, which is rightful in some cases, I get it, it's hard it causes it's a lot of work. I don't love assessment.
You know, when you're, especially like Third Street or Third Street, that's a very high traffic. It doesn't just benefit the property owners that front that street. The fairground and the
Yeah.
big factors and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
In the future, obviously, you're generating more traffic.
Right.
So
which is why it's state aid.
it's not
Yeah.
fair to the residents to
Yeah.
what the bill there.
Or even a percentage, and in one community I'm in, they take the project, the street costs, and they assess 15% of it. And so that's what has generated, and I did kind of do just I took that assessment calculation and I put it in our scenario and plugged our street costs in at 15%, and it's between $4,500 for assessment to do that, and that's the 15%. So I mean, you could argue that it's a portion, it's a main thoroughfare. We're having state aid cover 85% and 15% is local because you guys are all using it too. So you can always tell a story different ways.
As I recall, when we implemented the franchise fee, it's gonna be 10 years, then it's gone. I know there's a lot of skepticism. Once it's there, it's gonna go away.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing should or shouldn't, but
Yeah.
we know what it is, taxes don't go away. So. But again, once it's there, it's quite as hard to keep it and then, tweak it a little bit if you have to.
Yeah.
All right, so more to come, but, again, if you have any questions about anything that's in the report, feel free to email and Jen and I, and we'll try to get the answers before the study session.
Sure, have a lot more to go, but I think we got a good presentation tonight. I think I feel give staff something to think about.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We gotta fix the roads and fix more likely fix the utilities underneath, so.
So we don't need action on this.
Nope, there's no action required. It's just introduction to the study and kind of a heads up that we'll be having a more in-depth discussion on the 4th of December.
Okay, unless anybody has anything else, we will move on to 7.5.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we have a request before you to provide additional compensation for Deputy Emergency Manager Carroll. Given Ron's absence and anticipated absence to a date unknown in the future, Bob has taken on a significant additional responsibility to ensure that we work with HSEM, maintain our compliance with the grant. We just had a meeting yesterday. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, with the staff, we anticipate having another meeting first quarter of 26 to review the drill that occurred in August, and we anticipate that there'll be some additional responsibilities. And the personnel manual provides for additional compensation, and I am recommending that we provide that at $25 additional per hour, backdating it from September 1st and continuing until Ron returns. He's getting better, but we don't have a date certain at this point.
Personnel policy that reference.
Yep.
And did you already answer it? Is the funding that we're getting for emergency management gonna cover that then?
Correct. We have authorization from, HSCM, to, cover, the hours that Bob works for emergency management. We can submit those for reimbursement, so.
That was my question. Yeah, where does funding come from? So, questions?
Mayor, I will be abstaining from the vote.
Counselor Darrell will be abstaining.
I would make a motion to approve authorizing additional compensation for Deputy Emergency Manager Darrell.
I will second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to 7.6, review airport budget.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I have before you the proposed 2026 airport budget. The current numbers are current as of, I believe, as of yesterday. And then there are two recommendations for your consideration from the Airport Advisory Board meeting. The minutes of that meeting are included in the packet. You also received under separate cover, an attorney's opinion regarding item 7.6.1. So we can talk about that. So, if we want to go through the budget, I can attempt to answer any questions. I can't guarantee that I'll have everything for tonight, but I'll definitely have it before the end of the year.
Can you expand for me what miscellaneous intergovernmental revenue will be coming in 26?
So miscellaneous intergovernmental revenue is basically the reimbursement for our construction projects. So that's FAA grant dollars. So as we spend money, under 15, anything that's under the 150 numbers, the capital outlay.
Mhm.
So we have to fund upfront, and then we submit, credit applications to the state, and then they funnel money back to us. So it's really dependent on the capital projects that we put together. So, I have, actually bills, we've got a couple from the AWAS design and the Beacon project that need to be submitted so they can close out those projects. And then, and there's always somewhat of a time lag, unfortunately, between when we upfront the costs and sometimes when we ask for reimbursement, but we eventually get our 95% back or whatever. So there's always a little bit of local, depends on the split. Sometimes there's a MnDOT share in a project, and then there's a local share, so. And the CIP, when we look at that, again, I've tried to break that into the FAA share, the MnDOT share, and a local share. So that's that's kind of the big bucket for our capital stuff.
Okay.
And then the one below it is basically the, some of the maintenance and other, operations. I'm not sure why the secondary number was so big for 25, but we'll have to look at that again. That's the cleaner.
Didn't look angry, so I wasn't too worried.
Yeah, Bob.
Nick, just to kind of clarify on the CIP, under the airport, it'll show like we're going to spend 1,175,000.
Mhm.
But 38,450 of that is our portion. But if you take what the FAA is gonna pay and what MinDOT is gonna pay, that's what
It was over in,
that
Yeah.
fund is.
okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
It's a difficult budget to decipher with all the other, funding avenues.
I have a couple questions on some of the wants to go first.
Okay, let's go ahead. And I really don't have any myself.
I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Okay. So my first one, Michelle, is under the sales fuel. Is that including the Jet A when we go to that, or is that just the fuel that we're selling currently?
That's just the fuel that we're selling currently, and I need to actually look at how many gallons we have and factor in that quote unquote profit. So that 175 probably needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
So,
Really? I was like, whoa.
yeah, I'll fix that. I think, well, we're at 94,000 now. And that's roughly, I think we're at 450 a gallon. I think we paid 390-ish the last load, roughly, I think.
It was less than that,
Yeah, I can't remember what the bill said.
365,
For me?
I think it was 360.
Okay, well, so we're making a nice shot. It kind of varies from load to load.
With this new supplier, it fluctuates,
Yeah,
because it's coming in on a rail car out of Chicago. And, what's nice about this supplier is they had some rail issue 2 loads ago, or no, the last load. So they split the load, brought us some because we were running low, honored the price, even though they had to send a truck down to Omaha to get it.
So out of the way, a little bit, yeah.
anyway, so I haven't really changed the price because I just let that, we're making a very nice on the backside, so.
Well, it sometimes balances out, you
Yeah.
know, where rates are gonna go up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's all market driven right now.
And trust me, nobody's complaining right now.
So how much do we have sitting in our tank right now to sell? Because right now we've spent almost 97,000, but we've brought in 94,000 in revenue.
So right now we're sitting on about 4,000 gallons.
4,000 on.
Yeah, because we just got a delivery.
50.
Yeah,
Times 450 again,
yeah.
so 18,000. So is there like catching up that needs to happen here, or why are we, so our revenue is only 94,000, but we spent 96,000, and that's gonna bring us in.
Well, because we just got the delivery.
Yeah,
Correct.
So yes, there's gonna be catch up because we have to basically sell, and we were down last week, roughly the QT5
4 days.
was down in 2 days, so now I just looked at the last credit card report for yesterday.
yeah.
We had $700 in sales on the fuel, so it's gonna catch up. So,
Word moves fast in that community.
yeah,
I mean, obviously, we lost the sales when it was down, but that shouldn't be a long-term thing. It should have.
no,
People
No,
keep coming back.
they'll come back, you know, they will fly out of their way to save $10.
yes. But I will look at those numbers and we'll take a look at it, but like I said, we just got, so the bill list includes, no, it doesn't include the dualies bill because we're doing it next time.
Oh, yes, you asked if it was net 30.
Correct,
Yes.
yeah, because their invoice doesn't say that. So,
So in the miscellaneous intergovernmental revenue and then the state grant.
Yeah.
AD field facility, when can we expect money in there? Cause they're like really low.
yeah, so the state grant is our M&O maintenance and operations.
Yeah.
So that goes, I want to say monthly or quarterly. I'll have to check with Lynn. And then, like I said, I've got, credit apps or information for credit apps sitting on my desk. So those will go in and then the money comes back pretty quick, a couple of weeks, so.
I'm under engineering services. So we're at 40, well, let me look, because I'm looking at an old one.
It's still 4,200. I just ran the numbers today.
Okay. So is it typically gonna go up like that, or?
Well, let me tell you what's in there. So, my connection to Cassell was good.
Because this is KLJ, right? Engineering services.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you in a second. But that comes back to us as part of, no, this one's HDR engineering. HDR engineering. That would have been a reimbursable expense.
Yeah.
And it was relating to, I believe it was related to this, to the, security perimeter fence, but I'll have to verify that. Because normally the KLJ bills go into the 1502 numbers,
Okay.
because they're part of a project. So I don't put them in engineering services. In this case, I did, so I will look into that. If need be, I'll move it into the projects.
Okay. Those are my only questions.
Maybe Garrett, anything you had to?
Yes, so it looks, so under contract maintenance, it looks like there was $1,295 spent this year so far, but nothing budgeted for and nothing for next year.
Yeah.
And the same with the previous year, there was nothing budgeted, but there was 900 for spending.
That was specifically related to the QT pod, which is our fuel system. So that 1995 probably needs to actually go into memberships and subscriptions. So let me look at that.
And then my other question is under, conference school training fees, there's money budgeted, but never used, -1 for 150, and then same thing with lodging. There's money budgeted for last year, this year, next year, but again, not used.
So part of our licensures for, patrolling vertebrates and wildlife. And so some of those, we have off years where it doesn't have, we don't have to go every year, so then a bunch of us go. So part of it comes out of here, part comes out of parks, part comes out of.
There's also an airport conference.
We're members of the Macoa, Minnesota Council of Airports that holds an annual conference. And I've attended in the past. I try to go when it's close because I don't have to like sleeping in hotels.
Unfortunately, it's never close. It doesn't seem to be anyway.
I was in St. Cloud one year. That was nice.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's why sometimes and it's true in other budgets that we'll budget money for conferences, schools and trainings and lodging. We don't always use it. So, but in the event that, and the state and the FAA are always changing crud, to be polite. And, we just never know. There might be some additional training that we have to attend, so.
Okay. That answers my question.
Okay, anybody else? Or do we want to approve the budget separately then, and then move on?
There's no approval of the budget right now. It was just a opportunity for you to review the budget, ask questions, have me follow up. But there are two recommendations I need you to consider. And I did not include a formal recommendation, either way for, both of them. So these are recommendations that came from the, Airport Advisory Board, based on Damien's email. I would, at this point, recommend no refunds. I would recommend that you not accept the recommendation from the Airport Advisory Board, and will inform them. If you choose to pursue that way, then I will just inform them at their January meeting. Sorry.
If they Damien's opinion.
I sent it under separate email cover.
Shortly before the meeting.
Yeah. Basically, at the end of the day, in very succinct, basically, there's no merit to Mr. Hoffman's request from a legal standpoint, and there's no rational connection or even remote rationality when comparing it to the fire contract here that was made.
Nothing to do with each other.
There's nothing to do with each other, and so basically, there's really no need or no point, and actually, it would be better if there was no refunds, just from a precedent standpoint. Does that summarize your email?
Correct, and the email itself is fairly detailed and
I'm sure it is.
Yep.
I still want to go into it in specifics in open session. Yeah.
So,
I do attend airport meetings, I used to be on the board, and I do attend, and I remain silent, because I don't want to back myself into a corner. And, I've had time to think, and I did ask Michelle to, have you weigh in. And I've had some time to think about doing it. I don't want to sound sarcastic or whatever here, but he's asking for a refund going back to 2012, on a fee structure that isn't even in effect yet. Doesn't even go into effect till 26.
yeah.
But it's better for him.
Well, of course,
It would apply to him.
It's basically better for all the leaseholders, with the exception of about 3.
I would say, speaking for you, Davey, but that could open a can of worms that we don't want to do.
Was anybody excited for their fees to go down?
I sense.
Right.
Michelle.
Thank you.
Well, Michelle, if I wasn't thinking or not, but I didn't sense the airport board was really supportive of it.
No, and I know
They're
that-
kind of were in a spot where, well, maybe we gotta do something.
Well, I would say that, there was much discussion with several hangar owners when this was brought to light, and I had a conversation with Counselor Gerald before the meeting. The issue is, and Shauna can attest to this, is that if you read and Damien looked at the lease language, it's very ambiguous, not specific. And as I have found, and Stacy has found, and Damien has found, that information on how to do things was not written down, was not passed from clerk to clerk. And so without having a lease document that details how things are calculated, we run into issues of basically taking a stab in the dark, and then, someone like me comes along and says, well, why aren't we specific? And we need to be specific so that we're fair and consistent with everybody. And then I opened up the hornet's nest and.
So, but we did what we should be consistent.
Correct.
But then, he referenced back to 2012. Well, okay, he or whoever is involved, they've been paying on that lease since 2012.
Right.
And it wasn't a problem till this year.
Problem until their rates are going down.
So I guess they shouldn't say that too loud, I guess, but.
But if there's perceived harm, this is the remedy. It's already being remedied.
Right, we addressed it. Council, we addressed it.
So,
Sorry,
You know,
go ahead, Jimmy.
and then as far as the amount goes, you can't do comp, because I'm sure every airport has their own way of doing things. So I'm not,
correct, there's been an argument presented to the airport advisory board that our 25 cents a square foot is too high when compared to other airports based on other services airports provide and
What services don't they get that other airports provide?
well, I think one of our airport hangar owners was referencing Anoka and they have, water and sewer out there and whatever, but I mean, it is what it is. It's like anything else. It's very difficult to compare apples to apples when you're talking about, hangars and Shauna's done enough research to know that everybody calculates their lease rates in 18 different ways, so.
and we did address that. We do have a consistent policy that
Well, I know.
we shouldn't have this issue in the future, hopefully. So,
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a lot of municipal airports, if the pilot owns the hangar, then they pay a lot rent, like at a trailer park.
Mhm.
If the city owns the hangar, then sorry, I think I got that backwards.
No,
No,
you said it right. Yep, if
if the city owns a hangar, then they pay for the square footage of the hangar.
Yep.
But what we're gonna do is just charge them for the square footage of the hangar,
Mhm.
which is less. The problem the pilots have out there is when I got on city council, I found out that their lease rates out there had not been increased in 30 years.
well done.
So they sat there with the same, and we were one of the lowest lease rates. I sat down with Barbian and I said, let's call some other airports. I want to know what they're charging. And we spent hours on the phone and a whole bunch of them said, I sure hope to heck that you guys are going to increase your rates because everybody keeps talking about, well, Princeton charges this. And so when we finally figured out what we should be charging and increased it, they flipped out because they got away with it for so long. And they said, well, that's a ridiculous increase. And I said, not when you haven't had one in 30 years, it's not. How much money did you save in the last 30 years? Like,
Could have brought utilities out there.
anytime you bring up, right? Anytime you bring it up, they just think we're just horrible because they got such a good deal for so long. But I was not in agreement with anything either, so I was happy to see Damien's letter because I didn't have to be the bad guy. And
I like you, Becky.
I don't always mind it either, because if it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do. The other thing for them to say that they want us to agree to not increase the rates for the next 5 years, that's a bunch of baloney too,
Yeah, I'm
so.
not gonna try to handle the future problem.
Well, not only that, but I mean, look at the budget, look how much the airport costs us, or costs the taxpayers.
Mhm.
And our costs constantly go up, but theirs should never, like, and you guys got me going on the airport, I'll be done.
We had our discussion. It is an asset to me. I firmly stand on that, but they have to stand up for themselves. So what do we need action then to deny?
So you need to move, if that's the council's direction, to, basically, the proper term is to deny the recommendation.
For our city
Attorney.
Yep.
I won't even look at it.
Well, his recommendation.
Earn your money tonight.
Per the legal advice of our legal representation, you're gonna deny the request for a refund.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion,
I will second.
you have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Not carried.
Okay, so the second recommendation that came from the, Airport Advisory Board, is to pursue, installation of the Jet A fueling system. We did do a survey. We only got, even though we sent it out, I think I sent it through the Airport Advisory Board folks about 3 times. We only have the 12 responses. I only included the free-form comments. But the Airport Advisory Board recommended to pursue it, given that under the current funding formula, our percentage instead of 5% would be 2.5%, which is roughly $17,000, just a little over. So again, it's essentially what would happen is there would be a second tank. It would be a 2-compartment tank. The larger part would be Jet A. The second container or compartment, I should say, would be a smaller tank for unleaded. If in fact unleaded becomes reality and low lead goes away, which is what we currently provide, then I believe the plan would be to use that for unleaded. Is that possible, Bob? I'm looking at.
Well, yeah, just looking at quantities.
Yeah.
When you, it can affect the price if you're not buying enough.
Yeah.
So if your tank is too small, so
Yeah.
then are you sitting, how long are you gonna be sitting on Jet A? You know,
And I don't know the amount or the size of the tank. I didn't ask Klesny that, but, and essentially then we would use the existing fueling computer, pump controller, so the tanks would be sitting next to each other so that we could reuse the QT pod system, and reuse some of that equipment. So that would be the plan if the council wishes to pursue that.
So I had asked for feasibility to be done. Are you saying that this survey is
That's as close as we can get.
for feasibility?
Yep.
And who did this survey go out to? And we got 7 responses.
Well, we got 12. I only gave you the free-form comments. It was almost, I'd say it's slightly greater on the Pro Jet A. Basically, I utilized the Airport Advisory Board agenda recipients and they forwarded out to their contacts, so I can't speak to who all.
got it? And
Yeah, and just,
so we have no idea how much we're gonna sell, or if it's gonna be popular, or if it's a waste.
Where did the, I guess the recommendation to bring this in come from? Was this something the airport, the
Yeah.
advisory board brought up, or?
I've been here almost 6 years, and it's been a conversation piece for at least that long, and I'm gonna look to Bob.
So some of the history to it is that there's a theory out there that some of these smaller aircrafts are gonna be switching over what type of fuel they can use, and they might be able to use Jet A, but having an aircraft is very expensive. And I don't know, some of these, like, there was a plane out there today, and I think it was from the 50s. It's still in nice shape, and they're taking care of it, but will they convert? I don't.
Right.
And thought that, well, North Air Care would buy their fuel, and they maintain their own facility. They've got Jet A, and it's, I don't have a dog in the fight, other than it's, cost me some money on my taxes, but
Well,
that's where, that's where a lot of it generated from. It was from pretty much one person who brought it up, and didn't talk to somebody else, and
but according to this, North Memorial said they're not gonna buy it from us unless they can get it a lot cheaper.
correct.
That would be my question, very expensive. There's a lot of, well, if we could keep it, if we could be competitive. I guess that my question would be, is that something that would be feasible that we would be able to keep it competitive enough to justify spending $17,000.
Right. And then another detractor, in my opinion, is that you'll get very few, if any, jets. I've been here 20 years and I've seen one twice. The same guy out of South Dakota. And he has like a little Learjet. And the reason is that we don't have a long enough runway to support jet traffic. You can use it. But once your wheels touch the ground, your insurance is going to until you get back up in the air. In most cases, so the larger aircraft that would use more of it they're not gonna be shopping here, they're gonna go to St. Cloud. Or up to Mora. And I was actually talking to the Mora Public Works guy, and I said, well, do you sell a lot of Jet A? Because they have both fuels up there. And he said, we sell some. And I said, where's your traffic coming from? And he says, usually entertainers that are going over to Hinkley to North Lawn.
I think if there was an argument for it, that maybe the airport advisory should probably come up with a little more ammo, I guess, to show why.
Right.
Well, then I don't think it's very important.
Ask for a feasibility and some better info than, well, yeah, I think I might use it, or.
No, I was at the last meeting and I sensed a pretty strong feeling supporting bringing it in here, and the phrase I keep hearing is, "Well, build it and they will come." I know that's big and I thought it was a pretty good proposal myself.
Would
Where I'm
we
at
then
with
need
it.
to build the airport to fit the jets?
Oh,
then?
no,
Or-
can't.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't know.
Well, but I guess what I hear, and I'm not a pilot, I wouldn't know how to get in the plane, let alone fly one, but I know quite a few of the pilots out there, and they're pretty adamant that we should have it.
Well, I guess I would just ask for a little more than 7 questions, random, questions answered from people we know, so.
It would be nice if they are that adamant that they want it, for them to come and give us their argument of why they want it.
So we do an annual meeting with the airport board.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we could at both, and this doesn't have to be decided tonight.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna take advantage of the current funding amounts, we have to make a decision no later than the November meeting, because we have a December 1st deadline. So we either need to fish or bait, so to speak. I think that's the phrase.
I don't know, I mean, I'm sensing we probably don't have the support here, I do, I personally would support it. I don't know if we have 2 more votes.
But that could come back around next year to discuss, right?
Yeah, it's not a do or
Well,
die.
it can always come back around. I mean, the issue then becomes,
Cost.
I mean, right now we're in a window
Mhm.
under the old appropriations levels
Mhm.
under Biden.
Mhm.
So our share is, again, only 2.5%. If we delay, whether it's next year, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, our share will go up to 5% because we're in a funding window. So you can, again, I don't have a horse in the race. I'm forwarding the recommendation. They're an advisory board. They made a recommendation to you. You can accept it or you can reject it.
I have mixed feelings about it because I wish we had more insight or something on if the fuel's gonna sit in there and go bad, or are we gonna be able to sell it?
Mhm.
I would agree. I mean, that's just coming with a little bit more information for us to be able to make that decision. I do support the airport but that's kind of just throwing something in the wind, hope it works is.
Well, that's been the discussion since I've been participating in these meetings is nobody wants to commit. I mean, that's the issue is, you know, we can do these surveys, but until somebody knows how much we're gonna sell it for, nobody says, yep, we're gonna come to Princeton with our jet plane or our plane that accepts jet fuel and buy it.
Mr. That, and I mean, you know, that's a crystal ball thing, we can't, we can take a good guess, but,
Well,
I don't know. I mean, if you're, again, I should have had that from the meeting, I should have remembered that what you just said, but if they meant, maybe the time is to go ahead and fish, I mean, it's not to minimize expenses, but, you know, $17,000 is a $4 million budget, exactly. That's budget break. Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve, so to go ahead with the, JA fuel. That's not committing to it, it's just move ahead with, that's correct, Michelle, we're not committed to it if we go ahead.
well, you're gonna be spending money for KLJ to prepare the next phase of the application.
Well, they're gonna be doing something anyway.
So I would say that if you accept their recommendation, then yes, you are directing staff to move forward with pursuing Jet A at the airport.
And do we know that 17,500 is that gonna be our total cost for sure?
Could be less than that if, because those are, it's like any other part of the budget. They're, you know, the estimate that KLJ has put together is an engineer's opinion of probable cost, which means that if we get better pricing, our portion would come down.
Yeah.
It's unlikely that it will go up because KLJ is pretty conservative. They're usually, I mean, the fence project is coming in significantly lower than what he had as his opinion of probable cost by a significant amount, so.
So we're gonna save some money on that.
Yeah, we are. Can't remember what the numbers came in at, but I think it was almost $100,000 less than what they had estimated roughly.
So with this different sale, can we maintain our current fuel sales, that
Yes,
fuel?
we would continue.
And this might just not sell.
It would just be an add-on.
Might not sell, it might sell, we have no idea, that's the problem.
But no. Sometimes there.
Oh, with mine, I don't
I'm
think it's
gonna-
gonna get, no.
All my motion stands, so. I can get a second, we can go have more discussion. I guess, but the motion's out there.
I'll second.
Okay, we have motion and second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? No.
Nay.
Passes 3-2.
That was the right decision.
Well,
I don't know. See what happened.
that will be the first bad one we made, I guess. I don't mean to dismiss their minimum. Okay, we will move on to 7.7, bill list. I had one when I was signing checks, but I got it answered, so.
Okay.
Good turn that goes. So,
I have a question. A whole bunch of different departments have a $52 bill and it says watch fire signs. What is watch fire signs? I would ask you that question too, because I wasn't sure what that was.
So that's actually, the subscription for the digital sign at the corner of, Rum and County Road 2, and then the school district pays for half.
Yeah,
So, but we split it up amongst the various departments.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Called one.
Watchfire signs though, I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's the,
If I may take over.
yeah,
So Watchfire Signs is the manufacturer of the sign, and so inside the sign is a cellular modem, and that's how it connects to it remotely. As a surprise to us, and as a surprise to the sign maintainer, who is Scenic Sign Corp, I believe, Bob.
Say again,
Scenic Sign, that's who maintains the sign?
scenic, yeah.
Yeah. We have to have a support contract with Scenic, with Watchfire in order to connect to that sign.
Is that new?
We didn't know about it.
What are those just, let's just.
I'm sure.
Another reason it was
um,
functioning properly for.
Correct, that's the reason why it was not functioning properly.
yeah, we,
Tried the same method.
yeah, we literally couldn't change the message because we couldn't connect remotely to it.
Cause I kept
Because
looking at
the
that
modem-
2 weeks ago.
The modem had been shut off,
Yes.
basically because we didn't pay the service contract because they kept sending the service contract to Scenic Sign instead of to us.
Sure, you gotta pay your bill.
Well, we need to have a bill in order to pay it. So that's what that's for.
Okay.
So now we're paying them.
Yes, and
That's all in all.
We did 3 years.
I thought it was 5.
No, we did 3.
Okay,
If it dies before the end of the 3 years, then we're not out any.
yeah.
If it goes on after 3 years, then we only spend $200 more. So,
And they now know who to send bill to.
Find out if they pay attention to it, do
Oh, yeah, trust me.
The only other question I have is under the liquor store, Capital One Bank.
Yep.
And then the description is for $255. Description is MNOWDOSETHCLIC.
So that's the registration for the lower dose THC license from the state Office of Cannabis Management.
We love acronyms.
Yeah.
Why do we all laugh after that? He says that.
Well, thinking about the bill that passed yesterday, that's what I'm
I feel like there's a lot of spaces missed in the. Balm water disc is one word. There's been a couple.
Are you looking at the?
All the
looking at
descriptions.
The descriptions, there's a lot of just
Yeah, don't, yeah.
make it as
Smash.
small as we can.
It's the result of the THC.
But like the auditor's fee reimbursement 2025 A bonds, it's spelled out completely.
That would be me.
It just threw me off reading.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it just depends on, so some of the stuff like the Capital One Bank, information, that one, those are the ones that Mandy does, because all of those things are on the Capital One bill, so, they get coded based on people put in a credit card usage slip, so she knows where the codes go and things like that. So the Capital One items are all input by accountant.
Yeah, and it's like Walmart Public Works keyboard. You can pick that out, but it's all smashed together. So maybe ask her to put a couple spaces in it.
Yeah, I can pass that on. Mandy's really good at, taking direction well. So.
Yeah. Anybody else have questions?
No.
No.
Okay. I move to approve the November 13, 2025 check register containing checks 89853 to 89887 and ACH payments 251649 to 251698 and 1113251 to 1113253 in the amount of $293,893.56 and the pay period 22 check register containing checks 225-221-001 to 225-21056 in the amount of $153,249.39 and the pay period 23 check register containing checks 252-31001 to 252-31095 in the amount of $164,376.77. Read here.
I'll second.
We have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries.
Like you need some water.
I know.
Okay, Michelle, Report.
Yep, I'll try to keep it short. Perimeter fence at the airport is, almost complete. I've been out a couple times. It's looking really nice. We have fencing where we didn't have fencing before, especially around the AD building. The Halloween traffic control in the Meadowview neighborhood went well.
Thank you.
Police and fire were out there. Lots of candy was distributed, multiple pounds.
Lots of candy.
We met with Nate Cook regarding, he's finally gonna move on his plat for the property located at Fifth and Old 18, so
Be nice.
that'll be good. We'll tear that.
I drive by it every day. So.
Yeah. Infrastructure, we had a nice conversation yesterday with MnDOT to talk about various highway projects and improvements. We're looking for a letter of support for our LRIP grant. They were very open to that project on Highway 95 and 13th Avenue. We are meeting on a more regular basis with MnDOT, just to keep abreast of what they're doing, how they can help us, how we can help them. I thought the benefits fair went well. Thank you for allowing us to close the offices so that all the employees could participate. We did conduct interviews for the general maintenance 2 positions. We had 25 applications. We have made offers, which we can't give the job away at the moment, so we're working our way through the applicants that we interviewed. Everybody was well qualified, and I think we're just trying to find at this point the right fit team. We are moving forward on the scanning and document management project. We've had some internal internal meetings as well as those with CT Access. We have another meeting next week. There is one of the things I did not include, which is an oversight on my part, just an acknowledgement. After the conversion from Bremer to Old National Bank, there was an issue with the ACH payroll file, and both accountants, Holheisel and Schroeder, stepped up they stayed late to make sure that the file was corrected, and they went above and beyond to make sure that folks got paid that first cycle after the conversion. So just wanted to acknowledge their efforts. It happened while I was on vacation, so Ed kept me abreast, but I was very, very happy to hear that things were resolved, and I feel like they need a little acknowledgement, and kudos to them. And then the last thing is we don't have a second meeting scheduled in December as of right now, but we probably need to do that for December 23rd. We can meet earlier in the day, as opposed to a 7 o'clock meeting, if that would work with everybody's schedule.
We did that the first of the year.
No, I don't think we did. Shauna didn't.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I put it in my phone.
Okay. Did we do that? What do you have it as a time? Do you have it at 7 or earlier?
7.
Okay, so we do have it scheduled. Okay. All right, well, good to know. Just wanted to confirm.
I mean, we can approve it again if you think we need to, but I'm pretty sure we did that.
Okay.
I can look too.
All right. Well, we're gonna have a meeting on December 23rd, because at a minimum, I want to make sure we have that available for the final resolution for the final levy, and we will likely have Nate Cook's plat to consider, so. Otherwise, just the other meetings noted on the memo. If you have any questions, I'll answer them, otherwise.
In Public Works, if you don't get out of your interview process, you're gonna open the interviews up again. It's going to get them filled. Other won't happen to do, but
I may have to re-advertise.
We're hoping not. Fingers crossed. All I got.
Anybody else have any questions for Michelle?
No.
Okay, committee reports, public utilities will be meeting this coming Wednesday. Holidays, we're all out of whack, so. We'll be probably doing our final budget and then, there's other stuff coming up. Okay, anybody else?
I don't have anything. Can't do that either.
And commission due Monday.
Nothing for me.
Ready,
Make a motion to adjourn?
motion? Is it second then?
Yes, I did.
Okay. On favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So carried, we are adjourned.